Welcome to the TC Dojo from Single Sourcing Solutions. The TC Dojo is a TechCom community that is driven by you. Tell us what you want to learn. You choose the topics, and we find the experts.
We have Mark Clinesmith. Mark has over 25 years of technical communications experience in the software industry, from installing and supporting software applications to writing traditional help systems, training manuals, e-learning, and online video help libraries. Mark is the director of communications at MiTek and oversees a global team of technical communicators responsible for developing and deploying content used by 5,000 software users. He's deployed e-learning, organized technical conferences, implemented standards, and is responsible for formulating and overseeing the execution of technical communications strategy with the primary goal of overseeing an informed and educated user base. Now, I've had the opportunity to hear Mark talk about the value video has had for his organization before, and every time there is something new. Mark is always learning and trying to improve, and I'm delighted he's here to share his current insights with us in the TC Dojo today. Now, we'll answer questions at the end, so be sure to type them in to the chat or the question window as we go. You don't want to forget what you wanted to ask. I'll stop share, and Mark, it's all yours.
All right. Thanks a lot, Liz. So let me see if I can get the right screen here. All right. So thanks for joining me this morning. Again, I'm Mark Clinesmith. I work for a company called MiTek. And let me just go ahead and get started. And thanks for joining me this morning in the TechCom Dojo. I was happy to be invited, and it gave me an opportunity to kind of refresh this content. Like Liz mentioned, I have given similar talks at other conferences in the past. So it was a good opportunity to really take a look at what we're doing here at MiTek and refreshing that content, and then having the opportunity to share it. So I really do appreciate the invite. All right, so just a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. So first of all, just a little bit about who am I and who is MiTek. I'll talk about how we use video as a TechCom team, why we chose video as our primary medium for communicating technical information to our customer base. And then something that really has come up a lot, especially in the last, 6 months or a year, is what's next? So what are we looking at? What do we think might have an impact on helping us communicate with customers beyond video? And then, as Liz mentioned, we'll definitely have some time for questions. So if you have a question, feel free to stop me too. I'd be happy to answer it as we're going. All right, so as Liz mentioned, I'm Mark Clinesmith. I'm the Director of Technical Communications for a company called MiTek. A lot of background in TechCom. I've always worked for software companies, so that's really where my focus is. But just in the last 3 or 4 months, it's been great because I've had a group of technical communicators here at MiTek who focus on creating content for our machines. So our machinery division have come onto our team. So that's been exciting. So it's kind of gotten me out of my software comfort zone a little bit. And they're teaching me a lot about safety and how to tag out machines and all the things that, the one thing that came up is, if we forget to tell someone to click OK, it's probably not going to result in somebody getting a finger sliced off or anything like that. But they really have to concentrate on that. So it's been good to kind of expand my horizons in that world. So we do have a global team. The majority of our technical communicators are here in the United States, from Oregon all the way to Massachusetts. And then we have one technical author in the UK and another in Australia. So just real quick, who is MiTek? So we operate in the construction space. And our goal is to transform global communities by delivering better building through offsite construction methods. So yeah, I did read that. It is a mouthful, but really what we're doing is we're taking what we've done really well historically, which is offsite construction of components, and we're expanding that, okay? So to have a bigger role in modular construction by the year 2030. All right, so that's a little bit about who am I and what we do. So just a little bit more about that, because I really think of MiTek as a global software company. And that's really where I'm going to spend most of my time today, on how we use video to communicate with our internal and external software customers. So what I did is, on this slide, I just put together a couple screenshots here. So one of the main applications that we document is a 3D CAD application that you see kind of in the bottom of the screen here. And our customers, who we call, one group of our customers that we call designers, uses that application to basically take an architectural plan and then draw it into our 3D CAD software, with the end goal of specifying some of our products. So the physical products that a couple of the physical products that we create at MiTek, or manufacture at MiTek, is a truss plate up here in the upper left-hand corner, which anytime two pieces of wood come together, we press one of those plates on it. And then also a steel hanger, which is over on the right-hand side here. So we have software that specifies our products. We also have software for lumber yards and home builders. So really, when it comes down to it, my group, we teach our customers how to use those software applications. All right. All right, so let's take a look here. So what I want to get into is basically, how do we use video? All right, so what I'm going to do is just kind of go through this little flow chart here and explain our process. So, I broke it down into 6 different steps, and over 8 years, I mean, we really made this commitment to using video for technical communications back in 2013. And we really feel like we've refined the process. And that's what I want to do, is just kind of give you the Cliff Notes version of how we do this. Because we do feel like it works well. We brought new technical communicators onto our team. We've been able to teach the process, and we really feel like it works well. So everything that we do, starting up in the upper left-hand corner there, starts with a subject matter expert interview, so a SME interview. And at MiTek, we use Microsoft Teams. So that allows us, right now, I would say 90% of the people in software are working remotely, right? So we're working from home. We also have people who are in technical support, regional techs, implementers who are out on the road, starting to get back into that. But Teams allows us to sit down with these subject matter experts one-on-one, or maybe sometimes in a small group, and they teach us a feature. So when we look at new software releases, which I always kind of compare to like the mail, right? It never ends. So we're always documenting new software features. But what we'll do is sit down with our product owners or our product managers. We'll get on a Teams meeting. We'll record that meeting, and then we'll be able to go back and refer to it. So one of the biggest things that we found is having that dedicated time with our subject matter expert really allows us to flush out any questions. So, we use the Agile development method, and there's sprint demos that go on monthly. But what we found is those are, it's a larger group, and it doesn't really give us the opportunity to really understand the feature. And what we're really trying to understand is why. Why did we develop this feature? Who cares about this feature? And what we always tell our product owners and product managers is, think of, you're talking to us like you'd be talking to your customer. Why is this feature important? Why did MiTek invest in creating this feature? So we create that, or we have that Teams meeting, we record it, which again is really key, because it might be 2 weeks before we get back to that Teams meeting. Or to where we were ready to document that feature, because maybe there was some development that had to take place, or maybe we were just busy. But then we can go back and refer to it on our stream site. And once we're ready to really sit down and document that feature, then we write a script. All right, so that's up there in the first row in the middle. I still use Notepad for some reason. I don't know. I think probably just habit, like most things. But what we do is we sit down with that Teams meeting and with the software, and we really just work through it. So we've asked our questions in the recording. We can sit down, we're going through step by step, and we're writing a script. All right, so that script is, once we nail that down, I mean, that's really the hard part, I think. And, talking to other people on my teams, or on my team, is writing that script is really, I feel like once you get over that hump, you're really there, right? I mean, because at that point, you understand the feature, you can use the feature yourself, so you really know what you're going to do. So once we have that script, we then take it and we use the Adobe Creative Suite. And one of the applications that we use mainly is Adobe Audition. So I always tell people that I use maybe 5% of Audition. I mean, I think you could probably direct an entire movie using Audition. But the 5% that I use is just amazing. I mean, a guy on my team, Bert, he found Audition, or he used Audition outside of work in his free time and as a hobby, video creation. And we've used a lot of different tools over the years to create voiceovers. But when Bert sat me down and showed me the ability that Adobe Audition has for cleaning up audio, I was blown away. So what I can do is I can take and I can select, like my heavy breathing or when I'm popping, and I can take and select that. And then I can say, I want to get rid of this, but not just in this little 2-second area, get rid of it across my entire voiceover. And right there alone, when I saw that, I was like, wow, you just cleaned up, 2 minutes of video with 3 clicks. And it's not quite that easy because I still have to go back in and I still have to, there's still some places that I might have to, splice together or get rid of, I might mess up 5 times while I'm trying to read a tongue twister that I wrote in my script. But for the most part, Audition makes us very efficient when we're recording those voiceovers. So big fan of Audition. Once we're done with that, we take our WAV file that's created in Audition and we drop it onto our timeline in TechSmith Camtasia. And one of the biggest process improvements that we made, a guy, Chad Bavard on my team did this probably 5 or 6 years ago, is he said, I think I figured this out. What I do is I do my voiceover, then I put my headphones on and I just listen to myself tell me what to do. So he's like, think of it as a little 2-minute training class where I'm basically walking myself through how to get through this feature. So we listen to our voiceover as we're clicking through and recording those screen captures in Camtasia, which is proved to be very efficient. Then we get to have a little bit of fun. I mean, we always joke that it's kind of our creative time where we can go in, we can add zooms, we can add, arrows, we can add left clicks and right clicks and transitions and use some of the kind of fun tools inside of Camtasia to make that video ours, right? So we always joke, we try to make Academy Award winners. We don't try to get too carried away because at the end of the day, we're communicating, technical content. People, might not be that impressed that I can make an arrow flip around and point at something, but I still like it. So after we get done with that, we have our MP4 file. So we've created the MP4 file in Camtasia. And then we go and we upload that MP4 file to Vimeo. So years ago, when it was just myself and one other person in TechCom, Andrew McQuinn, we knew we didn't want to be in the video hosting business. So we found out that MiTek had a Vimeo account where we could upload all of our MP4s. So we use Vimeo still today. Great, I don't know. It's always up. Just like all software companies, they make some changes that move things around on us, and it confuses us every now and then. But for the most part, it's worked awesome. And the thing that I like the most about it is we've been tracking plays and finishes since 2013, and we get all that information directly from Vimeo. So it gives us a lot of good analytics, so we can track for a single video, we can track over a time frame, over a week, over a month, and we can track, total number of times that all of our videos were played. So really good, great for reports, great from a management standpoint to see if we have what our return on investment is for creating a video. So once we're done with that, then we have an embed code from Vimeo, and we embed that video onto our content management system. So we have a support website that we use to basically play all of our videos where customers can go and learn about our software. And we use a company, our vendor for our knowledge-based vendor is a company called Knowledgeout. And we did a pretty exhaustive search in 2019 to look for a new CMS vendor. We settled on Knowledgeout. Great company, great fit for us. I mean, when we were looking for a knowledge-based vendor, we knew, 90% of our content is video. And they were able to show us how they could, basically work video into the knowledge base, how we can make it findable. They really worked with us to help customize our support website and make it look, the look and feel of it, to make it look how we wanted it to. And I think one of the biggest things that they showed us is over here, we have like a 2 to 3 sentence intro to our video. Then you can play the video. This is the embedded video. And then below that, we basically take our script, and there's a sort of hidden area on every page where we can copy and paste our script into the content management system. So visitors to the site don't see that script, but every word that we're speaking is indexed, which just makes for a tremendously powerful search engine. So that's one of the biggest, one of the biggest values we found when we converted content management systems in 2019 is that we can now find our content. So that's a pretty big reason to make that switch. So Knowledgeout has been great. Happy to talk to you more about that switch if anyone's interested. So we talked a little, so that's our process today on how we create a video. But then how do we get people to use them? Like, they're out there, but how do we drive people to use these videos, to consume them? So number one is our support website. So you can see over here, it's very visual. We really tried to go with a sort of a YouTube look and feel, where you get a little thumbnail view of the video along with just the title, and then you can drill down and find out more information. When you're watching a video, we have related content on the side. We have new videos that display at the bottom, not related, I already said that, but updated videos. So our support site, we really feel like it's easy to find information on there. We also have 2 different newsletters that we distribute to our customer base every week, or one's weekly, one's bi-weekly, based on the segment. But that's what I have spotlighted here. And in that newsletter, we include links to 4 different pieces of content. And Chad on my team basically picks a theme for that week, and he finds content that supports that theme. And we send those emails out either Thursday or Friday. And just like clockwork, you can see on our stats, huge spikes on those days when we send out this content to our customer base. So that drives people to our support site to watch those videos. And then we also have a learning management system up in the upper right-hand corner called the MiTek Learning Channel. And we can repurpose the same embedded Vimeo link onto our learning management system. So we can multi-purpose content either for our support site or our learning management system, or a lot of content can be used on both. So that's another place that we encourage people to find our content. We have a Twitter account for our technical communications team. Sort of a grassroots effort to communicate with customers. We can send a link to a video as we create it. We always think of it as we're, maybe our release is in August, but as we create a video for that release, we'll tweet out the link to it and kind of give people a behind the scenes look at what's coming. So that's kind of cool. The other one that's really big is we have links built into our software. So our desktop and our web-based applications, you can link directly from those applications to the website, and you can watch information about. So if you're struggling with a specific feature in our software, you can hover over a button, gives you a link to the website, and it takes you directly to that video. So a lot of different ways that we drive customers to use our content. All right, so the next thing that we're going to look at is just some stats. So when I think about why do we use video, why would you do that? It seems like a lot of work and it's probably hard to update. Do people really use it? But the site that I always compare our support site to is YouTube. I always call it the YouTube of MiTek software. And as I was putting this presentation together, like I said, I wanted to update it and go out and find some new stats. So it was kind of fun. I enjoyed going out and looking for some stats that support my theory here. But if you look at some of these things that I highlighted, so YouTube as a platform has over 1.9 billion users every month. And those are people that are logged in. So it's not me who might be in my garage trying to figure out how to change my turn signal. I might not log in to watch that video. And then this other one that I highlighted in the upper left over here is, so 8 out of 10, 18 to 49-year-olds watch YouTube. 90% of Americans 18 to 24 use it. So we're looking at 18 to 49, which is a pretty big segment of our population. And that's a very accepted medium for, and I know, I always go back to the fact, not everybody who goes to YouTube is learning. A lot of it is entertainment. But whether it's, I'm talking to my 14-year-old daughter who's trying to learn math, or if I talk to my father-in-law who's in his 70s and he's trying to fix something on his Jeep, both of those, at either end of that spectrum, people are using YouTube to learn something. So another stat over here is 56 plus years. This can come across quite as well as I want to do, but 67% of people 56 years and older are using YouTube. So I think we can say, I still run into people that say, oh, I don't really like video. I want something written in front of me. But I think that segment is decreasing, whereas the percentage of people who are using video to learn is very much on the increase. And so a few other stats here that I thought were telling. The one here, 80% of US parents, children 11 and under say their kids watch YouTube. So who's going to be working in 12 years, right? It's going to be those kids who are watching YouTube. And it takes a while to build up this library of videos. Like we've been doing it for 8 years, and we're coming up on 3,000 of these help and training videos. But as I look at it, this really has to be the future, right? This is how people learn. And if you're learning outside of work watching a video, why not learn at work watching a video? Why not use that same medium? So a lot of good stats out there, a lot of things that like I said, it was kind of fun to go out and try to refresh some of the statistics that I've been using for the last 4 or 5 years. So I think, again, it just made me feel better about our decision, because I really feel like that's the way of the future. All right, so again, here's our graph. So we started tracking plays and finishes back in July of 2013, so almost 8 years ago. And at that time, it was just me and Andrew. And I remember in November, December that year, we hit like 500. And we're like, wow, we made it. They're not going to get rid of us. But now, you see that graph, kind of a steady increase. And you might notice it's very cyclical, but that follows the construction industry, just kind of on the opposite end of the construction industry, because in North America, when it's cold and everything's frozen, people are learning software. When it's summertime right now, people are doing their job. So that's why you see the big valleys and troughs. This one here in 2019, this is when we implemented our new CMS, our Knowledgeout CMS. Did a great job promoting it, so we got a lot of a big spike in plays and finishes. But on the whole, you can see that graph is just steadily, trending up. And right now we average about 3,000 video finishes a month and about 5,000 to 6,000 video plays. So you can see that we have almost 3,000 videos. And then, the one that I always hear the most is, isn't it tough to update those videos? I mean, that's where I get a lot of pushback. And I'm like, the answer is yes, but in my mind, I think it's hard to update a document. Like when I finish something, I just want to be done with it. Like the call I dread the most is saying, I found an error in this document. I'm like, I got to go open it up and finish it and, go back to what I was doing 6 months ago. But the reason I put this screenshot here in is this is a video that we created back in 2014, so 7 years ago. And it probably took us 4 to 6 hours to create it. And in May, it had 28 views and 23 finishes. So I thought, the return on investment there is just awesome, because here we are 7 years later. I guarantee we haven't touched that video in 7 years, and it's still providing, training and help for our customers. So while it's true, yes, that it's tough to update video, I'm not going to say it's easy. I think it's hard. I would say it's hard to update a document, because you have to go back and get in that mindset. So it is hard, but you do get better at it, just like anything else. Your editing skills get better. If there's just a 20-second, clip in the center that you have to fix, you can get really good at transitions and fixing that 20 seconds and getting that video updated. and you do get better at it. So just another thing that I thought I would share is that while it is difficult to update, I would argue that it's just as difficult to update any other piece of content. All right, so what's next? So I think that this is always kind of fun. So, if you look at that process that we go through every day, as far as that 6-step process, it is, it takes some time. People always ask me, well, how long does it take you? And it's hard to say, but I would say 4 to 6 hours is probably a good estimate, depending on, how much you have to learn, how in-depth the feature is. But what we like to do is cut that down, just like any other group out there. We'd like to get content to the field quicker. So recently we purchased a subscription to this software application called Streamyard. And it's really it's meant for video blogging or podcasting, where you can, live podcasts that you can post to social media. But what we like about it is it's a really good way to do an interview. And so we have this new medium that we're introducing right now called a TechCom interview. And what that's helping us with is we have so much content out there, so much knowledge in our organization that is either in somebody's head or maybe on their laptop. And what we're trying to do is just find a way to draw that out quicker. So our idea is to sit down with a subject matter expert, probably somebody who's in our technical support community, whether they're an implementer or a regional tech person or somebody on tech support, and just sit down and have a conversation about a specific part of the software. So we're aiming at, probably around that 5-minute mark as we're thinking about our sweet spot. But what we like to do is get to the point where we can do the interview, do some editing, because we know that's always going to be part of it, and then post that MP4 to our support site. So I never see this TechCom interview as replacing that process that we talked about earlier, but I see it as complementary to that process. And I see it as a way to get content to our field quicker and a way to tap into our entire tech support community. So I heard a term called dark data. And that's what we're really trying to do, is uncover that dark data and get it out there for everybody to know. So we think that's something that, we're playing with it right now. We're using it internally, and something that I'll let you know how it goes. We're using Yammer internally, another social media platform, but we use it internally at MiTek. So right now we're posting our Streamyard TechCom interviews onto Yammer and then driving some views towards that. One thing we're doing right now is we're just using those TechCom interviews to promote what we're doing as a group. So I like that, because I don't know if we've ever really done a good job of telling people what's out there. So I think that might be a big hit to us and really boost the number of times people are viewing our content. We're also interested in AI. So, anytime we go to a conference, we're always trying to think of what's coming with AI. I mean, especially if you think about our machinery folks who are doing documentation. I've seen kind of promotional videos where a tech goes in with these glasses on and kind of sees TechCom information in those glasses. So I don't know. That's one of those things that it's what's next, but I don't know. That one's probably a little bit further than our TechCom interviews. Another one that I really am excited about is animation. So the guy on my team, Bert's interested in animation. We're trying to think of how we can use animation in a TechCom environment. We did a little brainstorming about that last week. I'm interested to see what happens. And then really, we're always just looking for any way that people learn and how to tap into that. And I think the last time I was at a conference, or I was actually on a closing panel, and I remember one of the people on the panel was saying that, their product management team was just telling them, why don't you just throw some information on TikTok, and you could communicate it that way. And I was like, maybe that's not a bad idea, So, I asked my kids, I have kids from college age down to 14. I was like, so what is TikTok? And do you learn on TikTok? And they're like, well, not really, it's more entertainment. But I think that's the thing that we're trying to do as a group is, I kind of joke about TikTok and maybe that's what's next. But I think as a whole, we're trying to figure out how are people learning and how can we incorporate that medium into what we do as a technical communications team. So today it's definitely video, and we're happy with it. We're excited about it, and we really feel like we're getting good at it. Tomorrow, maybe it is TikTok, maybe it's animation. We're not sure what it is, but we're excited to try to figure out how people are learning and to really tap into that. So thanks for joining me this morning. It was a good way to start my week. It was fun to put this together. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to stick around, or you can reach out to me through email.
Now it's time to type in those questions if you haven't already. And while you do, here's a look at what's coming up. The TC Dojo Mastermind Groups are monthly driven member discussion groups where attendees present their specific challenges to a group of their peers in a confidential, supportive environment. They can get feedback and advice about topics on their mind in real time from others who've been in their shoes. It's been amazing to participate in and a lot of fun too. You can sign up at the TC Dojo website at mastermind.tcdojo.org. We know sometimes magic is just having the time to collaborate with someone who's been where you are.
In July, we have Melissa Shuck coming to the TC Dojo to talk about how user-centered approaches can improve outcome for writing teams as well as users of content. She'll be using the military as her microcosm, but the lessons of language and culture and audience have value across the board. You can find more at the tcdojo.org. On Wednesday, 2 days from now, we have Tracy Nathans-Kelly. She has spent a career teaching technical, business, engineering, and science communications at Cornell. She's got some things to say about modern technical presentations. Specifically, she feels that current slide templates perpetuate the worst practices possible for content developers, audiences, and users alike. And she's ready to help you learn how to change those poor practices. You can join us on Wednesday at room 42.singlesourcing.com. First, really briefly, can you clarify the name of the CMS?
Yes, it's Knowledgeout.
Okay, that's great. So hopefully everybody gets that.
Knowledgeout.com. Yeah, you can find them easily.
Knowledgeout.com. Cool. Yeah. And do you provide translated content, or are you strictly English only?
Right. So I'm glad that came up. So just in the last 3 months, we added our technical writer to our team in the UK. And that is myself and the tech author over there. We've been trying to figure out how we do this regionally in Europe, because we support 14 different regions. And we don't have a great answer yet, but we are working towards it. To this point, the only sort of localization we've done is for our French Canadian customers. And what we can do there is we can have a single video with multiple closed caption files. Because that's one thing I did leave out. We have a closed caption file for every video. So we use our script. And Vimeo has a way where we've worked with our French Canadian tech support team. They translate our script. We can upload that to Vimeo. And then when you click on the closed caption file, you can choose if you want English or French Canadian. So that's the only real, concrete experience we have with that. But we're trying to figure out how to use this in Europe, use this strategy. It's kept me up at night.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Because there was a follow-up question, actually, sort of related. Have you considered using the script for closed captioning, or do you?
Yes,
or as a transcript in addition to search?
Yes, so we do use the script for our closed captioning. And then one of the tech authors on my team, Liz Holden, she went to write the docs, and she thought that would be a good thing to do, is to be able to download that script as another, basically piece of content. So that's something that just came up in the last month. And we're thinking about doing that universally.
Cool. Do you ever use the steps you wrote in the user doc to write the script?
So we don't really have. So I think the question is, do we use what's in our user manual to write the script? Am I understanding?
I will follow up. Cindy, if you can clarify that question for us. She says yes.
Yeah. So
that's what she means.
We don't really have, so in the applications that we're using video for the most right now, we don't have user manuals. So when we made this decision 8 years ago, the user manuals were very out of date. So we don't have that sort of luxury. I wish we did, but we have used other, written content to create videos. So that is something we will do if we have that written content, because it's kind of like getting a head start on that script, right? We already have the written steps. They don't always translate real good into, verbal communication. So you have to tweak it a little bit. But the nice thing is you already know how to use the feature. You can use the user manual to figure out the feature, and then you just have to, kind of translate that into verbal communication.
Great. Are any of your videos accessible to non-customer meeting participants? I think
We
folks
do
want to get a look at what you're doing.
Yeah, I wish I could say yes, but everything is behind a login. I'll look and see if there's anything I'm sure there's something I can find, because we do have a public version, a public section of our website. So I'll see if I can find that. And then can I send you the link, Liz? Or
Absolutely. And I will post it to the event page once I've got the slides and video posted as well. That's the event page in the chat window.
Okay. I'll track
Cool.
something down.
Awesome. That'd be great. So I love that you record meetings. We do this. It really seems to help with attention and comprehension, because you're not anticipating your participation, or you're distracted taking notes and miss something.
Right.
Right? Are you finding that?
Oh yeah, 100%. And yeah, it just helps us. And I think one of the biggest changes that we made, and this would help no matter what documentation we're doing, is having that one-on-one SME interview, not just using the sprint review as our learning, our learning time. Actually being able to sit down with the product manager or the product owner and having dedicated time to say, I know you went through this already, but can we dive into it a little bit deeper from a documentation standpoint? And it's taken us time to get buy-in from our product managers and product owners, but once they saw how it helped improve our documentation, they really bought in.
Nice. Well, and part of that, and I like the Streamyard idea too, right?
Yeah.
You never know what'll come out in conversation.
Right.
So much is contextual.
Yeah.
What you're thinking or what your priority is today versus what it was 3 days ago or a month ago.
Right.
It's tremendous.
And we kind of like you and I were talking beforehand about just sort of how, I guess video conferences, they become a little bit more relaxed in the, pandemic era. And when you're sitting down with somebody, and if you can get them to have that same relaxed feeling, and you're just having a conversation, and they're showing you something in the software, it just seems like a great way to learn. It'd be like me sitting down with you right now, just saying, oh, I know how to use that feature. Let me show you. Or if you were sitting with somebody in a, tech support environment, I think it's a good way to kind of get that information out to everybody. And hopefully, hopefully our tech community can embrace it and say, oh yeah, I know a lot. And this is stuff I show people every day. I might as well show everybody.
Cool. So we know that not everyone is video centric.
Right.
Some of us like to scan and read.
Yeah.
Right. Do you have any customer feedback about the almost complete transition to video, or are you finding a balance?
So, I mean, it sounds like we've had nothing but positive feedback. I mean, we have had a couple of instances where we've had a really lengthy set of steps, and customers have said, I get tired of hitting play and going back and hitting play and going back. And so if it is a real, let's say 2 or 3 pages of in-depth steps where you're configuring a server or something that, really doesn't lend itself well to video, we keep that in mind. I would say, 90% of what we do is video, but it's not like we're only going to create video. If we come across a piece of content that we say, this just doesn't, this is a written document, we keep that in mind. I mean, we definitely try to know when we're trying to videoize too much. But most of the feedback we've gotten from customers has been positive in a way that, it's almost now it's the medium that they expect. So even our tech support department, when we're talking to them, we found that they're creating videos to send to customers, because it's just what our customer base has grown to expect. And it's taken time to get there, and not all of our applications. So we have several different suites of software. I would say our home builder software is probably, 75% written, 25% video. Whereas our component manufacturer software is more on the 90-10 in video. So I guess there are different groups in there that, sometimes when you have a long list of steps, it's just a much better idea to create a document.
Nice. Great answers. Mark, that was fantastic. The chat is full of awesome presentation. Thank you, Mark.
Good. Thanks.
I'm so glad you could come and share today because I get ideas from you, and that's a fantastic place to be.
Yeah, well, I'll be back to watch some of those upcoming presentations. I think I'm definitely going to check out. So I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming to the TC Dojo by Single Sourcing Solutions, where it's all about you. Subscribe to our mailing list at join.tcdojo.org. You'll get a link to this session, as well as announcements for future sessions, and a convenient link to the survey. Every month, we look at the survey results so we can go out and find experts willing to share their expertise. Why should we tell you what to learn? You should tell us. Vote now at survey.tcdojo.org. As always, the TC Dojo is our pleasure to host. If you need more personal help and want to speak to one of our TC Dojo Masters in Residence, just go to ask.tcdojo.org, where you can get your question answered and be on your way. Thanks again, and see you next time.